Zentrix AI. The advanced AI-powered trading platform for every trader. Everything you need for trading success. Research, strategy, automation, trade signals, all in one platform. Write strategies in plain language. We build the bots. Forex, crypto, stocks, futures. Every market. Let AI do the heavy lifting. Zentrix AI. The future of trading is here. Are you ready?
Okay, what's up people? Welcome back to another stream. Hope everyone's doing well. As always guys, if you're enjoying the content, please be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and of course make sure you do hit the bell so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. If you haven't checked out the Telegram for Zentrix yet, make sure you go do that. I'll drop the link in the chat. 1 second. So make sure you head over and check out the Telegram for more information, of course, regarding launch as well. If you are interested in learning about how AI could help improve your trading, utilizing it for automated trading bots, using AI to develop indicators, strategies even, refine strategies, and of course a wide range of different markets as well. So if you are very interested, check it out. Something we've been working on for the past few months. Excited to get that out to you guys, and it's going to be very interesting because I do think this is where the future of trading could be looking to head towards. So do check it out. Link in the description, link in the chat, sorry. Completely free to join, so check it out if you haven't done so already. But anyway guys, hope everyone's doing well. We'll go through USD side of things first, take a look at the DXY, USD majors, gold and silver. We'll go through any requests as well, so any particular markets you're looking at, feel free to drop it in the chat. We'll take a look. Of course, any time frames as well, let me know. Most of the analysis I'll do will be on like the 4 hour and surrounding time frames, but if you are looking at something a little bit slightly below or slightly above, let me know and I will get to it. What's up, Tony Gold? Welcome to the stream. Hope you well. Amos, welcome to the stream. That is great to hear, my man. That is great to hear. I'm glad that you found the streams useful. That is music to my ears. What's up, Tommy? Welcome to the stream. Hope you well. So as always, we'll go through USD side of things first. Drop any requests in the chat and we will take a look. In terms of the DXY, to start things off, things have been a bit mixed. Of course, we did have NFP yesterday, and price did see a bit of an up move there. So of course, we had a bit of dollar strength come into the market, but that didn't really do too much damage. We had one bullish candle, but not really much consistency. After that, price formed a bit of a wick and we rolled over. For me, it's the same situation we were in yesterday in terms of dollar's been bearish, but I'm not really keen to keep shorting it. I think we are looking a little bit tired. Market's looking a little bit fatigued. I do think a bigger pullback could be on the cards pretty soon. So as we do continue lower, I am looking at USD pushing up at some point. It might not necessarily be now. We might still see another bearish wave to the downside before that does happen. But unless I see some very strong momentum that does break us lower quite convincingly and shows us that this trend is still healthy, I won't be looking to get into any shorts there for the dollar. I'll be looking for only opportunities to take price higher, and yeah, looking for pullbacks and opportunities to buy the dollar. But of course, not quite ready yet. Still pretty bearish. We're still respecting areas on the lower time frame like this consolidation, which did give us two reactions. One over there, second one over there. Some nice shorting opportunities in the lower time frames, but again, not really my concern. If you're on the lower time frames, then yes, I do think shorts look good for the dollar still. Even this area up here, where we've got some price support, which we turn resistance. Of course, as you can see, price rejected it a couple times over there. Briefly over there, of course, giving us that range, and then price broke to the downside through that as well. So showing a lot of momentum from this particular area. So if price was to get there again, I think on the lower time frames, shorts make a lot of sense. We might not see a huge continuation, but might see some shorts for a day, which of course could make for a decent trade. Doesn't have to be the home run every time. Even if we just see a push 50% of the way down, that could still be very much worthwhile. So yeah, USD at the moment, yes, things are still bearish. I think if you're intraday, keep looking to short. There's some clear-cut areas. 97 I'll keep an eye on for some shorting opportunities, but I don't expect the market to go any crazy distance. We might see new lows, but I'm not expecting any big moves. I think the bigger move will be to the upside. So that's really what I'm waiting for. So looking at Euro USD as well, same situation with this one. We had a couple moves lower. Price came back into this consolidation. Nice reaction recently as well, but not much momentum there. A slight reaction to the upside, but again, intraday that could be worthwhile. We did speak about some shorts in the 15 yesterday as well. We had a nice double top as price pulled back into this zone over here. Of course, this was our lower high, which gave us that low. Price pulled back, respected on a couple of occasions. This was NFP, so a very strong move down, but essentially price respected that area. We had a deeper test of this range here, as you can see with those wicks, and price has been looking bullish since then. So with Euro, again, I think intraday buys still look good. I still like this zone down here as well. I think this is a smart place for a buy. Of course, we're nowhere near that zone, but if price was to get there, I think that's a very smart place for a buy as well. 1.164, I'll keep a close eye on that. Intraday, things are looking a little bit bearish as we do approach this area here again. There could be some nice shorts in the 15, so I'll keep a look on that. We are pretty consistent with the lower highs now, and it looks like price is really struggling to push higher. So I do anticipate some retracement for Euro USD, similar to the DXY. I do expect that to push up as well. So there could be some nice shorts there. Again, a bit more of an aggressive trade. You are going against the higher time frame trend of the market, but we are seeing signs of that trend run out of steam. So it does make sense for some sells, but still it's a bit more of an aggressive idea. Pound USD, this one has been pretty interesting. We saw a very strong move down a couple of days ago with pound. We came back into a very significant area of demand. Price tested this area on a number of occasions, but essentially it has been holding very well as support. I do think price is still likely to break through. Similar to Euro, I do expect pound to have a bigger retracement, maybe somewhat of a bearish counter trend move. And since we have broken out this consolidation, I'm looking at price coming back to retest this zone here and probably find some more downside from this area. This is kind of the level I suggested yesterday that makes a load of sense on the lower time frames. So I like this area here. If price can come back and revisit that, I think that's a smart place for a short and perhaps a continuation back into low. So continuing that bearish bias on an intraday level there for pound USD. Of course, the higher time frame trend is still bullish, but you can see we are becoming quite corrective now. We have taken out major highs here. I do think we're running out of steam, and perhaps we could see a bigger pullback. So that's really the theme I'm seeing with the dollar pairs. Yes, dollar has been weak, euro's been up, pound's been up. Aussie's been up, New Zealand's been up. I do think we're coming to prices where that could look to change in the next few days, maybe a couple of weeks. It might not change right now, but I do expect to see more downside in the near future. But I do like pound USD short setup because we've had a strong rally, prices consolidated and had a strong push down. So out of all the shorts on the USD pairs, I think pound looks the best. I think pound's still a little bit weak, and given that strong bearish move, we're basically just looking for the continuation of that. So pound USD shorts make a load of sense. Dollar CAD, I'm looking for a bounce as well. So again, playing into that idea of USD strength coming into the market. Again, you can see the area price is trading in, a massive area of demand. This is a big level where price did briefly pause and then shot to the upside for a lot of momentum. Now price looks like it's coming back to retest that same zone. So going to keep a very close eye to see how we do operate in these areas. I'm looking for a big double bottom here. If things look good, I think this is a very good place for a buy. I quite like how we're moving. It's very corrective on the way down, which shows that, okay, yes, we are still bearish, but momentum is slowing down, and perhaps something like that could be on the cards. Looking for a big double bottom at this level. Again, rejection is going to be key. We are slow, which is good, but we need to see some wicks, some healthy bullish candle closures to really signify, okay, price is bouncing at this level and we are likely to push higher. There is a bit of a counter trend line here. Perhaps even a break of that could be a smart entry signal. So price can continue to move correctively, maybe wick through the zone, strong close above the trend line. That would be a nice entry to back up some longs. And then, yeah, let's see how far we can go. Back to highs would be my best, would be my target for the idea. Looking for a big double bottom, at least a push into the neckline would be my expectation at 1.379. But I think we can go a lot further. But we'll see how price develops because the entry's not quite there yet. We could still fall further. We need to see some heavy rejection and perhaps even a break of that counter trend line to really justify some entries here for dollar CAD. But I'm no longer looking to sell. Market's very corrective. We're pushing into a big area of demand. I think the shorts, unless you're on the lower time frames, looking for a very kind of small piece of the pie, maybe. But I wouldn't really want to be shorting directly into support. If anything, this is a nice place for some longs. In terms of Aussie dollar, this one has just been slowly correctively pushing higher. Not quite at my zone yet. It's been taking its sweet time to get there. I'm still hoping we do that. Again, I'll be looking for some shorts around 0.66, basically a push into the upper end of this channel. Price is not quite there yet. It's kind of consolidating just underneath. So kind of hoping to see if price can have one more push higher into that zone, test the upper end of the channel, and then get the shorting opportunity. All I'm looking for is price to basically respect the high of the channel, to push into the low end of the channel, and perhaps maybe leave positions to run just in case if we get a bigger breakout. The way I see it, Aussie dollar has been grinding higher in this corrective channel for quite a while. And typically, when we are moving like this, price is normally getting ready for a push lower. This is not very sustainable, healthy, trending behavior. When price is really corrective like this, most of the time we do tend to break lower. The difficult thing is trying to catch when that break lower will happen. I thought we were seeing the break lower over here. Turned to be a big fake out. Price recovered the level and had a bit of an up move. But again, as long as we can remain within the channel, respect the high of the channel, shorts still look good. And yeah, we'll be looking to target the lower end. New Zealand dollar, pretty much the same analysis as Aussie. Of course, they are very similar pairs. They do tend to do the same thing, and they kind of are. And again, you can see here New Zealand dollar operating within this channel here as well. So again, very corrective, up and down, up and down. Recently, we came back to respect the high of the channel. It looks like price is doing a pretty good job at respecting it. So as long as we can keep that up, I would expect to see a push back to the low end of the channel. If price was suddenly to break above this, of course, I'll relook at the analysis and either be bullish or at least be neutral. But because we've had a healthy rejection of the higher end, naturally I'm always going to be favoring a push back to the lower end now. We are a little bit corrective, not really seeing as much momentum as I would expect to see from a strong rejection of the high. but the key thing is we are still below this point. So in terms of opportunities, if you're not already in the position, you kind of want price to probably push back into the high, reject it again, then hopefully we can see some more momentum then afterwards. There is a bit of a counter trend line on the lower time frames. We could potentially go break through that, test the high again, maybe some type of double top pattern could form, and there could be some nice shorts off the back of that. But yeah, New Zealand dollar still respecting the up end of the channel, looking for a swing back to the low around 0.59. As long as we can maintain this 0.61 level of resistance, I am pretty bearish here for NZD USD. In terms of gold, I was looking for some selling opportunities yesterday, but I didn't really like how the candlesticks formed and how everything set up, especially with NFP coming into the market very aggressively. We did see a very strong push down with this 4-hour candle, but the rejection wasn't really how I wanted it to look. We were slowing down. I did say keep an eye out for some shorts. Yes, we did have a push down, but the candlestick formation wasn't enough for me to enter a position. And the way things have formed as well, I am looking at this as being an inverse head and shoulder. So I do think price can rally back to highs. And we might see a deeper test before potentially a sell, but I am actually losing a bit of confidence with the short bias. So I will definitely keep an eye to see how we move in this area. And if things are not looking good, of course, I'll stay away. But the way I see it, price has had a very aggressive rally to the upside. We've broke through that high there, broke structure through that. Now the market looks like it's forming a higher low. So I do think we can continue to rally. But as we approach this zone, there might be some shorts depending how we move. And of course, if price has a big rally and it just breaks through the high there, then I won't be looking for shorts whatsoever. That's a big break of structure for me. We're probably going to push the swing high up there at 34.40, maybe back to all-time highs at that point. But for now, for gold, I think we can rally at least back to this zone here, and then we'll see what price has in store. But yeah, after that rejection yesterday, I'm pretty bullish. I think if you're looking for some long opportunities for gold, you probably do want to see a drive lower and base some longs off that. But yeah, I do think gold is likely to rally back to highs. And in terms of silver, that's been looking pretty bullish. We had a strong close yesterday, actually. It was yesterday, just before the stream, we had this candle close. I did say keep an eye on some retest in this area for some buys. We had NFP, which gave us a strong push lower. For the most part, I think things still look very bullish in my opinion. I like the wicks to the downside. I think in terms of entries, if price could push down one more time, that could present some nice buy opportunities off the back of that. Because we are looking very, very flat right now, so I wouldn't jump into anything. But if price could push down into a zone like this, maybe some stops underneath it, I think that's some effective areas for some longs on the lower time frames. And then, of course, my expectation would be a push back to the swing high at 37.28. So altogether, very bullish on silver, very bullish on gold at the moment. I think silver looks probably the better one, the clearer one, but gold's looking very bullish as well. But silver, I would expect to push back to these highs and then a likely break of that. My next big target for silver is 40, which is a really big psychological level. And we've still got a lot of distance to cover. There's still a long way to go before we do get there. So I think there still will be opportunities along the way. So definitely keep tabs on that. But yeah, silver looking very bullish, respecting 36.5, 36.6. And from here, I would expect to push back to highs. But I would look for that dip first before buying, because you are quite flat there. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with USD. Okay, guys, if you haven't checked out the Telegram for Zentrix, make sure you go do that. I did post the link in the chat, but I can post it again. There is a form there, which you could check it out. If you're looking to test the platform, make sure you do get your Solana wallets ready, because you will need that to access the platform. But if you want to test out the platform, see how it works, what's the offer, and you're just generally interested to test it out and just see what's in store, check out the Telegram, join the Telegram. There's a link to a a link to a form which will give you information to put your details to potentially test the platform. So check it out if you haven't done so already. But guys, welcome back to the stream. Haven't said hello to a few people. Tony Gold, what's up? Yeah, New York volume will be a little bit dry today. Yeah, it won't be a normal afternoon or morning, I should say, in New York, of course, because it's the 4th of July. So yeah, the US is taking a holiday. So yeah, I mean, London is as normal, but New York, we probably won't see the normal volume as you would associate with the New York session. So it might be a situation where London will start to die down, and then that could that could mean the market kind of dies down for the rest of the day, potentially. So, I mean, the market's not completely shut. There are other participants around the world, but of course, New York is a major session, and with that closed, I don't expect to see any crazy fireworks this afternoon. So, yeah, markets will be a little bit slower. Teshepo, good day. What's up? Hope you're well. Hoping for USD weakness after NFP yesterday. Yeah, I mean, USD is still looking at NFP as a whole. I'm looking at the DXY. Everything still looks like it's pointing down. Again, like I said, we are showing signs that things are slowing down, and as a whole, this trend is slowing down and becoming more fatigued. So I do expect us to eventually push up. But again, that could be a few days from now. It doesn't have to be right now that we have to see some upside. I'm not looking to buy the dollar just yet, but I do think that over the next few days, maybe a week or two, we will see probably a big recovery there for the dollar. In terms of intraday, things are looking relatively weak for the dollar. We had that spike higher from NFP, and price has been falling to the downside. On a more intraday level, we have been falling. We are starting to approach this area here, so I would be a little bit cautious of that, especially intraday, because this is an area where we found a lot of bullish momentum. We might bounce from here. How big of a bounce, I'm not too sure, especially with the New York session being a little bit dry today. We might not see a normal reaction. So yeah, I'm not too sure how much of a reaction we see, but what I can see in the lower time frames is that this consolidation is doing a pretty good job at respecting price. So if you're looking to short, that's primarily where you want to be positioned, at the high there, looking for rejections and entries and stops above the high. Now that we have seen some downside, watch out for this area. Of course, if price can break through that will probably take us back to the lows here and so on and so forth. But this is definitely an area where buyers could be looking to enter the market. We might see price struggle a little bit, especially because we are looking quite corrective. It's not like prices being aggressive to the downside. We had a very aggressive move up, but now we are very corrective on the way down. So I would worry at that level. It could definitely break, don't get me wrong. And if it does break, then you probably will get your wish of a lot more USD weakness back to these lows and a lot further as well. But this 96.8 level might be a bit of a nuisance, so keep an eye on that. Yusuf, good morning. Hope you're well. Welcome to the stream. I'm doing good. Hope you're well. Tommy, yes, we can go through the Aussie CHF trades. Okay, no problem. Dave, what's up, dollar CHF? Yes, we will take a look as well. Yusuf, okay, take an entry in GJ. No, I haven't really been looking to trade pound gem. I haven't really been looking to trade pound yen this week, but I can go through the analysis for it. Teshepo, would you advise? Good question, actually. Good question. I mean, again, for intraday, a big part of intraday trading is that kind of momentum for the day. So if you do take a trade and it's a situation where, price is, let's say you took a long position and you enter the trade, but price is just basically doing that through the day. Well, as time continues, you get closer and closer towards the end of the day, and you probably want to just be out of the trade anyway, because you don't want to be in a position where you're holding this intraday trade, especially on a very small time frame like a 5 or a 15-minute chart, holding that through a weekend like today. It's the weekend tomorrow, so you don't really want to be holding that for a weekend. Any kind of minor gaps could take your stop loss or even fill you at a worse price, so you might lose more than you anticipated. So you don't really want to be in that position. There are times where, of course, momentum will be low like today, and we might still see a bit of an up move. You might not get your full target. Normally you would expect to move like this during a session, but because of the lack of volume today, it might be half or even 20% of that. So there probably is still an opportunity to profit from the trade, just not the usual targets that you would be expecting. You won't expect a usual move come the US session. There are still going to be participants buying and selling, just of course not the US. So there will still be movement, but just not as much as you would expect. So I wouldn't say there's a right or wrong decision to make. Not taking any trades in the intraday it makes sense as well, because you're not expecting the same momentum. You can still take a trade and just manage it. If it is moving sideways, it's coming to the end of the day, get out the trade. Maybe it does push a bit into profit. Any profit is profit at the end of the day. It might not be your usual target, but it could be half that or a quarter of that, which is still some decent profit to walk away from. I just wouldn't expect price to go and hit my target. That's really what I'm trying to get at. So I wouldn't say yes or no. I would say that's up to you to decide, but I would advise just keep monitoring the trade. If momentum's not picking up, get out before the end of the day. Maybe you can catch a small profit, but it just depends. If you see a good opportunity, I think taking it does make sense. Just don't expect your usual targets. You probably will be out of the trade a lot earlier. D-Mark, good morning. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Rexus, good morning. Hope you're well. Yes, I have looked at gold, but I can go through that quickly for you. No problem. I'm doing good. Thank you for asking. Teshepo, pound ZAR. Interesting. I don't think I've ever looked at pound ZAR, or at least not that I can remember. Anyway, I said I was going to go through Aussie CHF and then Aussie CHF, dollar CHF, we'll take a look at. We'll go through GJ as well. I haven't really been looking to trade GJ this week. It's been a little bit too high up for me, but I'll go through it, and we'll take a look at gold as well and pound ZAR. So I did hop into an Aussie CHF position yesterday in a bit of drawdown at the moment. But it's a bit more an aggressive position, but the idea is I'm basically looking for the pullback of this up move here from past few weeks, and I'm basically trying to buy the low of that pullback, anticipating higher low to form here for a continuation back to highs. Like I said, it's a bit more of an aggressive trade, reason being the structure is still bearish and the higher time frame trend is still pretty bearish as well. But I like the area prices pulled back into. It's had a relatively healthy pullback into the 0.5, 0.618 area. We're coming back into a nice area of demand on our left over here as well. And it's an area where I would expect to see this bearish trend fizzle out, because we've just formed a lot of support, which price has just manipulated to the downside, and we did recover quite well on the 4-hour/8 hour time frame. My entry was this candle here, which closed pretty well on the 8 hour as well. So basically momentum shifted, we closed back above support. Now I'm looking to see if momentum can kick in to the upside. So, and I've given myself a bit of room with the stop loss. So it's definitely more an aggressive position because momentum trend is against me, but it's an area where I would expect buyers to step into the market. I might not see the whole swing in my favor, but if I can catch a bounce into this area, that's more than enough for me to go break even and maybe take some partials off the table. And I like the buys as well because Aussie CHF is a pair which is coming from all-time lows. This is a pair that has been falling for quite a while. And every time the market does go and take out to all-time low, you can see we do recover pretty sharply most of the time. And I'm looking for that same situation to happen again and see a lot of upside. So I like it because from a swing bias, there's a lot of upside for us to expect. We've got this area above us, which is where a lot of momentum came from. I'm expecting price to at least go back and test that area as well. It's a very similar idea to the Euro Aussie trade I've been talking a lot about. I said basically I'm choosing between Aussie CHF and Euro Aussie. They're very similar pairs. Aussie CHF looked better at the time. I like the entry a little bit better because we formed a lot of support here. So I would imagine a lot of orders would be, let me get rid of this as well. A lot of stop losses would have been just below this because a lot of people will be buying off support here, off support there, off support. We went and run through the lows and recovered that. Now I've got my stop loss here and my entry here as well. So I'm quite happy with how that shaped up. At the moment, momentum is not in my favor. Price has failed to push through that. We are coming back into support. But as long as price respects this area, I'm happy to remain in the trade. I've got my stop loss there as well. I'm not betting the farm on the trade either. So if price does continue to fall, I'll stop out and reanalyze from there. Maybe Aussie CHF is going to push to lows. I've been very skeptical of that move there. I'm pretty much looking at this as a pullback for a continuation. I could be wrong, of course. Nothing's ever 100%, but this is the opportunity which I'm liking. I'm looking for a swing back to the high. So essentially, it's just a push, a pullback of that, and trying to anticipate the low for a continuation. The more conservative trade would be waiting for price to push up first, waiting for some higher lows, as I was speaking about yesterday, then looking to get involved on one of these dips. The logic behind that is that you've seen some bullish structure. This bearish structure can be well and truly broken first before you do get long, and that would be the more conservative trade. But sometimes you don't always get the best pullbacks, and sometimes you do enter a little bit late. So once you do get this opportunity, trends are shifted, people have spotted that already. I like to get in trades before people realize something is bullish or something is bearish. That's where I kind of like the opportunity. And right now, Aussie CHF still looks very, very bearish. So people probably will still have that kind of outlook. Market's bearish. I'm not going to buy it just yet. And that's why I see opportunity. But yeah, we'll see how the trade does play out. Where was we? So I'll go through dollar CHF. We'll take a look at GJ. We'll go through pound ZAR and gold as well. Is that Aussie New Zealand dollar? MBF? Okay, we'll take a look. Hey, appreciate Manzoni. Thank you for the kind words, my man. Hey, appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, I'm glad people do enjoy the streams and find them useful, man. I do really appreciate that. But yeah, guys, if you are enjoying the stream, please be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel. It does really help out. But yeah, that is music to my ears. I really appreciate that, Manzondi. What's up, Leander? Welcome to the stream. German index. Okay, we'll add that to the list. I've got to take a look at dollar CHF at the moment. So dollar CHF, another CHF pair which has been heading down. This has been looking pretty bearish. Again, it's a pair which has been falling for quite a while. We are quite stretched. I do think a pullback is on the cards, but again, this is a market where I would be careful buying because we just have been falling. Yes, we are approaching support, but there's no real signs of us turning around just yet. So we could always fall a little bit further. There is a big level of support just above us here, which will be turn resistance. I think that's a smart place to try and short the market. If we could see a pullback into that area, that would make a load of sense to try and sell. Again, I wouldn't be looking for such a big move for dollar CHF. I know the market is bearish. We're very consistent with all these lower highs, but we have been falling for quite a while. I would say the market is quite stretched as well. So because of that, if you were to get short from this level, I think, yes, it makes a lot of sense, but I wouldn't be banking on a crazy drop. I would be closely watching that trade. I think a bigger pullback is on the cards for dollar CHF. I think when we see USD gain some strength, we might see dollar CHF gain some strength and see a bigger pullback as well. But I think this is a nice level to short for maybe a couple of days. We might not see a push all the way back to lows, but I think you probably will get a healthy reaction from that zone. If price does end up forming a higher low and goes against you, you're probably still in a position where you can lock off some profits, maybe move a stop loss to break even. So yeah, if that was to happen, you can be managed against that. And if price, of course, was to fall, you can always leave positions to run. But yeah, dollar CHF is still very much a bearish market. I do think a bigger pullback's on the cards, but I can't say too much about that because I'm not seeing really any signs of that happening. Yes, we're hitting a relatively big level in the monthly chart, but there's no real reaction to that. Yeah, I would wait for more evidence before talking about the buys. But yeah, I like this level, 0.805, we'll call it. Healthy place for a short. Let's see if price can get there. Let's see how we react as well, most importantly. And there could be some nice shorts there for a couple of days at least. And of course, we could always come back and test the lows as well. So yeah, dollar CHF bearish for now, but maybe in the next couple of weeks, we might be talking about some big buys. In terms of gold, so gold, I was looking to short yesterday, but I wasn't really liking the price action. We had NFP, which gave us a very big bearish candle, and things just looked very awkward at the time. Yes, we did have a nice rally. Things started to become quite corrective, which is what I was liking. And I said, as we approach this zone, there might be some nice shorts for a push down. We did see that happen, all coming from NFP, really. I didn't really find an entry. I was looking to enter on the 4-hour chart. I wasn't going to enter on this 4-hour candle. It was too big, and I didn't really like the way it shaped up and the way it closed. The way I see it, price kind of looks like it's forming a bit of a head and shoulder pattern. So I kind of do expect to see something like this over the next few days for gold. Then maybe I can monitor it again, and maybe some sales might look better, but I'll speak more about that in the next few days. For now, for gold, I do think we can at least push back to resistance. So if you're looking for opportunities, I would wait for a push down back into support and then look for a push back up again. And basically looking for this inverse head and shoulder pattern, left shoulder, head, right shoulder. So yeah, gold, I would be bullish, especially intraday. I wouldn't necessarily be banking on a crazy move to the upside like this just yet. I think this is still an area which could give us a bit of a sell-off. So I would still be cautious of that. But the way we kind of developed yesterday, a strong push down, support holding very well. I think this is still a very nice place for a buy. So keep an eye on a double bottom there potentially. And then some longs off the back of that could look nice. Of course, wait for some healthy rejection first. I wouldn't jump straight into the trade, but that would be the idea for gold. And then, yeah, we'll go from there. Maybe we do sell off, or maybe we push back to lows here, or maybe we go and break through. We'll investigate when we get there. Okay, so we'll go take a look at pound ZAR, which I think, I don't think I've looked at before. Or have I? No, I have looked at it before. When was this? This was, okay, I looked at it in Feb 25. That just goes to show my memory's awful. Okay, so let me see if I can remind myself of what I was looking at over here. Okay, I think I know. So yeah, so I think last time, yeah, I was talking about these lower highs, and I said hopefully we might see another run back into support and then some buys back to the high. Because, of course, the overall trajectory of the market is up. So the odds of us getting back to the high were pretty high. But yeah, price didn't form that lower high. We just shot straight through and we're looking pretty bullish. Let me refresh the chart and start again. So in terms of pound ZAR now, because of course we have taken out highs. So this could be the start of a bigger pullback. If you're on the lower time frames, like 4-hour hourly chart, I think buys still look really good. We're coming back into this area, which is a nice area of demand where a lot of momentum came from. I think buys still look good, especially with how price is operating here. It's very, very sideways. So I think the longs off this area make a lot of sense. I wouldn't necessarily favor a big move back to highs again. Maybe not just yet. I think this is still a very smart place for a buy. It would be nice to see if price can wick through this area, have a deeper test of that zone, and then buy. But if I was looking for a buy here for pound ZAR, I'll just see if I can target back at resistance again and probably just call it a day. Because now that we have taken out the highs, I do think a bigger pullback could be on the cards, something like this. So I wouldn't bet on a continuation. But what I would bet on is that this area here could give me a bullish reaction and probably push back to resistance. And maybe I can take some partial along the way, this is probably an area you could probably lock in some gains. Nice brief supply there, strong push down. That could make sense to bank some partials or maybe move a stop loss to break even. So yeah, for pounds I like the buys. Nice consolidation. I would expect to push to 24.55. The market's still very bullish as a whole, so buys still make the most sense, especially at support. But yeah, I wouldn't bank on a crazy move. I think we could probably still have a much deeper correction, so be wary of that. But for now, I do like the buys. No problem, Dave. Happy to help. Rexis, no problem. Happy to help. We'll go through Aussie, New Zealand dollar for NBF, and then we'll take a look at the DAX as well. Of course, any markets, let me know, and of course, any particular time frames as well, because if you're newer to the streams, most of the time I do spend a lot of my analysis on the 4-hour chart and time frames around that. But if you are a bit more intraday, I can look at lower time frames as well and share my opinions there too. Okay, so let's go take a look at Aussie New Zealand dollar. So with AUD/NZD, definitely my least favorite pair, which I do look at, just because of how choppy it is. It can be a bit of a pain. But with this one, I do think price still has a little bit of room to the downside. I think it depends what you're looking at. If you're looking at like a 4-hour chart, and this just looks horrendous, really, in my opinion. Yeah, it does really look horrendous. But I like the trend line here. If I go to the weekly chart, I like the trend line here. I can see some consistency with the higher lows. You can see since the low here back in March 2020, we've been pretty consistent with higher lows. So I've got a feeling that we could still see another rally to the upside at some point and maybe push back into resistance as a whole. So I do somewhat have a bullish bias, but it's just not a good pair. It's just not a good pair in general. There are sometimes good opportunities, which is why I keep an eye on it, but they're very few and far in between. So it does take its time, but I like the buys. I would probably wait for another push back into support here before looking for any entries. I want to make sure that I get my stop loss in healthy areas, away from all the noise here, and under this area would definitely be a place I would consider. Price is forming lower highs here, so there is that kind of bearish structure we have in play right now, which I would not want to be buying into. Hence, again, I would want to see a push lower before looking to buy. I wouldn't be looking to bank any sells either, so I know that we're at resistance. This is not a bad place for a short. Stops above the high makes sense, but I like the longs a lot better. I can understand looking to short Aussie New Zealand dollar, resistance, expecting another lower high to form. It does make sense, but I think the buys will have a little bit more luck, because again, it does continue with that higher time frame trend. So I think there's some natural bullish momentum in the higher time frames, which could help our trade. But yeah, I think shorts look good here. 1.083. I like the longs a bit more, so that's where I'd wait for, but that could take a whole week or even longer than that before price does get there. So there's that. But yeah, it's a very choppy pair. The best way to get involved with opportunities is looking to sell high and buy low. You want to be away from the noise. You want to get your stop loss in areas where price has to work quite hard to stop you out. And below here or above there would make sense. Any stop losses in this area, you're asking for trouble. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with Aussie New Zealand dollar. Okay, so we'll go through the DAX next. Deshepo, okay, you also had buys. Okay, nice. Only waiting for confirmation model to enter. Okay, nice, nice. Yeah, I agree. When a nice area, come into a nice area of demand as well. So the buys make sense in my opinion. Might not see a humongous move, but again, you don't need to have a humongous move to make profit, of course. But yeah, I would agree with that bullish bias. Yusuf, I completely forgot about GJ, didn't I? I'll go take a look at that now. Apologies. Menchi, what's up? No problem. I'm glad you find the streams useful. Euro Aussie, Euro NZD, are they ready to sell? I'm looking at, well, I'm no longer looking at getting into Euro Aussie, not because it's not a good opportunity, just because I'm an Aussie seed chef, which I'm pretty much doing the same thing. I'm banking on some strength on the Aussie. So I've kind of got my hands tied essentially, so I'm not going to get into Euro Aussie because I'll be doubling up my risk. But I will go through Euro Aussie, still also a good short opportunity, and I'll go through some entries for that one as well. Euro NZD, I kind of like the sell, but it's not as good as Euro Aussie, but they both do the same thing, so I do have the same bias. But I'll go through GJ and the DAX first, and then I'll take a look at those pairs. So with pound yen, we did see a nice bounce off the trend line yesterday. Was it yesterday or the day before? Wednesday was the day before, wasn't it? Yeah, so we saw a nice bounce the day before. But yeah, price had a really nice reaction. Of course, we had NFP yesterday, which caused a lot more momentum for pound yen. Essentially, that trend line held. We did break through resistance here, so that did technically break, but it was only to come back and retest the trend line. The trend line for me was the main kind of catalyst to keep us bullish. If price was to go and break through the trend line, that would be a worrying sign for the buyers. But for the most part, we are respecting it very well. The continuous high lows are still in place. So my expectation for pound yen is still a push back into resistance up here, 199.5. That's still where I see price heading towards. The market is still bullish. We're still very consistent with the higher lows. The way I see it, price is still likely to continue higher. We had a very strong move to the upside yesterday. Very strong move to the upside off the back of NFP. We went and taken out these highs. So my expectation now for pound yen is a rally to the upside. We've just gone and broke through structure. We've been bearish, seeing lower lows and lower highs. Now we've just seen a higher low. Now the plan is, not a high low, sorry. We've seen a higher high. Now the plan is I'm expecting a higher low and of course another higher high. As to where that high low could come into place, I quite like this area around 196.6. I think this is where we had our last kind of pause before we shot to the upside with NFP's momentum. So naturally that would be my number one area for a buy. I probably also would consider support here as well for a buy too, just because we might not see a deep enough correction to actually test that zone. There's somewhat of a counter trend line. I suppose if you can break through that and see a significant candle closure above that, that could be a nice entry there for pound yen. And targets back at resistance 198 make a lot of sense, and even targets back here as well if you really want to push the trade makes sense too. If you were to keep falling, then yeah, I would keep a close eye at 196.6. That looks like a very nice place for a buy. But the plan is we broke structure, we saw a higher high. Now we're looking for a new higher low to take it back into resistance and then back into the swing high, and even back into 200 as well. So yeah, for me, pound yen, very bullish. Lower time frames look bullish. We just saw a very healthy break of structure. Nice bullish engulfing candle there on the daily chart. Trend line is still being maintained. Higher lows are still being consistent. Therefore, pound yen is still likely to continue higher. So yeah, pound yen, I would be pretty bullish on that one. And I think the 15-minute chart is also shaping up pretty well. Okay, so we'll go through the DAX next, and then we'll take a look at Euro Aussie and Euro NZD. Yes, Teshepo, I'm still holding pound Aussie. I'll go through that position in a moment as well. Seeing a bit of retracement for that, but I'm still pretty bearish, still expecting lower prices. In terms of the DAX, I've actually kept an eye on the DAX, to be honest. What's been going on? Okay, so we had a bit of a rally, but price is pushing down. It's a little bit awkward, the DAX, isn't it? It hasn't really seen the momentum I've been looking for. I think with this one, I mean, I'm still expecting a push back into highs. That's still very much the plan. 24,350. We got the highs around 24,500, but I'm still looking for a push back into resistance here. So the DAX I'm still very bullish on. Still looking at this as a higher low. We're still seeing higher highs and higher lows in the 4-hour chart. So you got the low here, high, higher low, higher high, so on and so forth. And we're basically looking to try and capitalize on the next higher low. As I said yesterday, the most important thing is that we don't go and break through this point. If the DAX does break through that low there, that would make me classify the market as bearish, at least intraday anyway. And I'll be expecting a push back into lows here. But there could be some nice shorts to take advantage of, but I wouldn't be looking to buy it anymore. I said there's a couple of ideas I've got for the DAX. Whether we form a double bottom here and rally, or price pushes back into this area and rally, I'm not too bothered. I think they're both smart places to look to long. Price is already showing a lot of wicks into that zone. This is, of course, a very nice area of demand where we had that strong push to the upside pretty much start from. So this is a healthy area to buy from as well. It's just how we operate in these areas and whether we see healthy confirmations to justify some entries. At the moment, I probably would wait for the DAX to fall a little bit further and see if we can really reject this before maybe forming some type of double bottom. If we do come a lot lower, then like I said, we've got this area to consult with. That could be a smart place for a buy. If, of course, price breaks through, like I said, I'll back away and probably have a short bias, and I'll be targeting a push back to the lows here at that point. But these are two healthy areas to be looking to buy from. 23,700 and 23,500 both look really good. The expectation would still be a swing back to high and a push back to the all-time highs. It's just now up to price to now give us that entry. In terms of entries, all I'm looking for is wicks and bullish engulfing candles. If I can see a strong wick and a strong bullish engulfing candle to show me momentums now with the buyers, that's always a good entry signal. But yeah, for the DAX, I'm still just about bullish, so expecting a lot more upside. In terms of Euro Aussie, I've been keeping a close eye to short this one. I was debating between Euro Aussie and Aussie CHF for opportunities, looking to short Euro Aussie or buy Aussie CHF. Both very, very similar trades, trying to get into the market early, anticipate some larger pullbacks, force some larger swings, going counter trend as well. So yeah, very, very similar opportunities. I chose the Aussie CHF. I like the entry a little bit more for that one. Euro Aussie, I kind of been wanting price to kind of sweep the highs first because I can see a lot of wicks here, a lot of rejection piling up at resistance. So I've kind of been waiting for price to sweep the highs and then give me a strong rejection, or even maybe a break of this counter trend line because price is kind of squeezing in this pattern here. So a break of that would be a nice entry because that shows, okay, momentum is back with the bears. We're holding resistance there. Now we can see a swing back into support. So this is really what I'm looking for Euro Aussie. Again, the logic is we've had this strong push down. I'm looking for this to be a lower high and a push back to the lows. Price is coming back into a nice area of resistance as well. And we're really struggling to break through that. So the idea is that we've had a pullback and now I'm just expecting the continuation of it. Of course, it's a bit more of an aggressive position. Why? Look at the trend. It is pointing up. So it's definitely counter trend idea. And we're looking for a pullback of this move, which is necessarily not confirmed yet. So it's definitely more an aggressive trade. So I do want to see a really powerful entry before getting involved. And I wouldn't say we've kind of got that yet. Price is still respecting the low end of this trend line. And we're still respecting resistance, which is good. But I kind of want price to sweep the highs first and then push down. I've got a feeling we probably will go and sweep the highs. And if we can get the strong rejection afterwards, that could justify a nice entry. But at the moment, Euro Aussie is kind of just squeezing in here. It's up to price what it wants to do next. That's kind of what I'm looking for. Push up to push down. If it does push down, that's fine as well. But a really high probable opportunity would be if we can sweep the highs first and then react bearish shortly afterwards. But in terms of the area we're trading in, still looks relatively healthy. I like the way we've moved to the upside. Still a very, very corrective move, which is why I've got a lot of confidence that we are likely to fall over. It's not like we've seen a clean up trend. This is a very corrective move. So I do think we can continue lower. But yeah, the entry, not quite doing it for me just yet. As for Euro entity, I haven't really been as big of a fan as Euro Aussie. This one had a very corrective down move. We broke out that to the upside. Now we are starting to become a bit more corrective. Euro entity, in fairness, has seen quite a lot of momentum. It hasn't been as corrective as Euro Aussie, which is kind of why I liked Euro Aussie a little bit more. The more corrective a move is, the more likely I'm expecting it to break lower. This one is starting to become corrective, but it's not quite there yet. I think we can probably still consolidate, maybe create some new highs before we do get ready to short. So I think we still got probably a week's worth of price action before this is ready to short. At the moment, the market's still grinding higher. I wouldn't really be looking to take some buys. I did mention some buys a couple of weeks ago off the retest of this level. It's been a slow grind since then, but I'm not really seeing any good opportunities to buy it right now. We're about to approach resistance as well. So yeah, USD, I do think we can bleed low as well. If I go to the higher time frames, yes, it's been a very strong uptrend, but we've gone and taken out major highs from COVID. I think we are quite stretched and the market can come back down again, but we are not quite ready for that. The market is still slowly grinding higher. So hopefully we can see some more development. I'll speak about the shorts when they're a little bit more clearer. At the moment, the market's still grinding higher, so I don't want to talk about shorts just yet. I think Euro Aussie is something to watch out for, because that one's a little bit more ahead in its development for some shorts. USD, we're getting there, but I wouldn't be looking to try and catch any shorts just yet. Okay, so I'll go through pound Aussie next. The DAX on the 3 minute, is that what you're asking for, Anton? No problem, Yusuf. Happy to help. Malik, I am doing good. I'm doing good. Thank you for asking. Hope you are well too. Okay, so yeah, pound Aussie, I'm still hanging on to that position. We've gone through a pretty big pullback for this one, but we have come back to test this zone over here. So this is kind of what's keeping me bearish and involved in the trade. If I see some red flags here and see some signs of price potentially breaking to the upside, I might just pull the plug in the position and get out a bit early. Yeah, get out of the position early. This is really my target for the trade, to push back to 2.06. We came about 80% of the way there before the market decides it wants to retrace. But yeah, market isn't always going to be in a straight line. You're always going to get price. You just absolutely fly to your target. It's going to be a little bit of this, a little bit of that. You know, it's not going to be a straight line, unfortunately. But yeah, price is pulling back into a very healthy zone. As you can see, very nice consolidation here. This is where we did spat out a lot of bearish momentum, and we're relatively quite corrective on the way back up. So it does show signs that, okay, this is more of a corrective move, which again tends to mean we are likely to push lower. So we're going to see how price does react there. On the low time frames, we are slowing down. I like how price is moving. This is where all the momentum lies, and this is still a very corrective move. So I would expect price to break lower at some point. Just have to be patient. My stops are at break even, so there's no risk on the table. But like I said, if price does start to show signs of breaking above this range here, I will pull the plug and just take the profit I have. If we can respect that zone, I'll hold out and hopefully get a push to the lows here, where I won't take all of my profit. I'll probably take the majority of it. The plan is I'm looking to see if we can get a bigger move down, because this is another counter trend move, which I hopped into off that resistance there. I'm looking to see if we can get a push, roughly into this area, which is a pretty big move. But if this is a counter trend move, which is gonna pick up, we have taken out COVID highs as well. So I do think there's a bigger pullback to be had for pound Aussie. So if we are going to go through that bigger pullback, I think a lot of downside can be expected. So I'll take most of my profits at that support level, because price could always bounce there and go against me. But if you can see a break of that, I will trail stops, let the remaining positions run, and hopefully I can exit around the 1.99 area. But we'll see. We've got a long way to go before there. At the moment, we first need to at least get there. But yeah, still hanging on to pound Aussie. No red flag, no signs to actually get out the position just yet. We're coming back to retest structure. Let's see if price can respect that. But again, another reason why I'm looking to short Euro Aussie as well, or have been looking to short Euro Aussie, is because I have that bias as well with pound Aussie. and 9 times out of 10 they do tend to do the same thing. Of course, pound's just been very weak over the past few days, which is why pound Aussie's actually seen some decent downside, and Euro Aussie just hasn't seen any downside. Euro's been on the stronger side of things, but I think it's a ticking time bomb, so just keeping a close eye on it. Again, the way I like to look at it is, things are quite bullish until they're bearish, and the opportunity lies in the transition. When things are already bearish and people can see they're bearish, and everyone can see they're bearish, and the market's been bearish for a while, there's not a lot of opportunity there left, because it doesn't take Einstein to work out the market is bearish. The value, especially for swing traders, is getting involved where those bearish moves are about to begin. Not necessarily trying to call reversals. I'm very big on trying to find pullbacks, and pullbacks are one of the most frequent, simplest opportunities to understand. But when you get those deeper pullbacks where a lot of people try to get involved, but they've been taking out the trade, and essentially at the moment when people are thinking, okay, it's not a pullback, price is going to keep pushing up, that's the time you want to really get into the position. And I think Euro Aussie's in that kind of vicinity, but it's not quite ready yet. Still kind of consolidating this wedge pattern. We'll see how price operates. Of course, we could be wrong as well. Price could very much break high and continue. That could be the case. But if we can see some strong selling pressure creep into the market, I think it's a smart place to go short, and hopefully we can see a big push down. But again, it is the 4th of July today, so now that London session is coming to not a close, but the big momentum from London is going to be looking to dissipate soon. You expect in New York to take over, but there is New York session. There is no New York session today, so I don't expect much this afternoon. So, I mean, I'm in 2 trades at the moment. One's at break even, one's in a bit of drawdown with Aussie CHF. I'm just going to see how price operates with them. I'll hold both of them over the weekend. I've got a decent stop loss for both of those positions, so I'm not too worried about the weekend. I probably could end up even remove my stop loss as well as the weekly candle closes, just because Aussie CHF is one of those pairs which can gap a little bit, and also spreads can really widen when that new daily candle does open. So even if price is trading like here, it might widen enough to actually take your stop loss and take out the trade. So I might remove the stop loss going into the weekend. Pound Aussie, I'm not going to do much with that one. That's well into profit, nowhere near my entry. So yeah, that one's going to let it do its thing. In terms of other pairs I'm looking at, well, I kind of want to wait for Aussie CHF to get to break even before I do get into a new trade. But pairs I have been interested in, I actually am still quite interested in CAD Yen shorts. I know we've had a lot of bullish momentum for the yen pairs. The yen was very weak. We'll take a look at the yen in a moment. But I am still very intrigued with CAD Yen to the downside. I'm not sold on this bullish move. It's still very corrective. I like the way we're finding resistance here as well. It kind of tells me that maybe a bit of a top is forming. I'm still looking at this big bearish move here. I'm treating this as a pullback of that move. So if this is going to be a potential top for the pullback, I can see price melting off back to lows. We've had another rally to the upside. I was favoring a push to the upside yesterday for CAD Yen. I did say we're looking very corrective on the way down. So in my opinion, it looks like price might get a bit of a rally to the upside, which we did. More or less back into resistance here. It looks like we've seen a bit of a rejection since then. The entry bit is where I'm struggling because there is no kind of clear entry to get into the position for me. But I kind of want to be looking for some shorts. Maybe if price can rally back into resistance again and reject it again, that might give me the entry I'm looking for. I'm looking at the 8-hour chart as well. That was a nice rejection there, but I kind of want to see a bit more momentum before I think about some shorts here. If momentum can pick up, I might look for something like this. Depends on the entry. But yeah, CAD Yen, I'm not sold on the buys. Yen still looks pretty weak right now, which of course is what's giving us a bit of a push to the upside for the yen pairs yesterday. Of course, everything was looking very bullish for the yen pairs. But again, the yen, I'm not convinced about a move down. I'm looking at this humongous push to the upside, and I'm looking at this as just a pullback of that big bullish move. So the way I see it, I expect price to break to the upside, back into resistance, and probably further as well. So if I'm expecting a move like this for the yen basket, that means pretty much all other yen pairs I'm expecting a big move down, CAD yen included. And I'm looking at price action here as well on the 4-hour chart. We had a very strong push back down into support roughly. We're bouncing back up. I'm not convinced if this is a big double bottom just yet, just because momentum is slowing down. If this can pick up the pace, and maybe we see a nice bullish engulfing candle on the daily chart, maybe that would be sufficient. But yeah, not quite there yet. So yeah, I'm just keeping a close eye. It's one of those markets which I think is coming to an end. We're getting ready for a turnaround. I think it's probably going to happen sometime next week, and I want to see if I can position myself in some ideas there. Malik, oil, GJ. Okay, we'll have a look. Long positions in both. I do like oil longs. I do like GJ longs for the most part. I think, of course, I've just been speaking about, I do expect yen to gain some strength. But from a 50-minute standpoint and the low time frames, GJ is still very much on the uptrend. It's a very corrective move, so I think we might top out around 199 and push back down. But so far, we've been very consistent with the higher lows, higher low, higher low, higher low, so on and so forth. And on the lower time frames, we had a very bullish move, which of course went and broke structure as well. As I drop to the 50-minute chart, you can see that breaking structure in all its glory. It has left behind some areas where buys make sense. I talked about this area as a nice place for a buy, and also this area is a nice place for a buy. So I think GJ does look really good for the longs. I'm not sure where you entered, but I quite like the buys here, and structure is now in the favor of buyers, especially in the lower time frames. I did highlight this counter trend line here. I think if price can see a solid close above that, that would justify a very nice entry, or even a test of this zone. I think that's a nice area of confidence for a buy as well. But yeah, the higher time frames very consistent with the higher lows. Just basically looking for the continuation of that momentum now. So GJ longs I do like. The bigger move I think for GJ still likely is going to be to the downside, but I wouldn't, I think that's something for next week or even the week after. I think for now we might steadily push the upside into resistance and then might go for a sell, but we can speak a lot more about that in the coming days. For now, yeah, I do like the idea of buys. As for oil, we did see a very strong rejection. Breakout. Well, equally rejection as well, to be honest. Price is coming back into, if I go to the weekly chart, price came back into a very significant level of support. And I said if price can hold this level, as you can see, support, 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 and again support. So I said if price can hold this level, I would be pretty bullish for oil. And we were consolidating for a few days. Price eventually broke out that consolidation. And if we can have a successful retest here, I think that's a great area for a long position. I think stops below the low here, the safest, kind of away from all the noise and away from all the drama. And it makes sense as well, because if price was to go and hit the stop loss, then I would suggest that, okay, we're probably in the wrong direction. Price is breaking support. Probably are going to go to the downside anyway. So that would be a healthy place for a stop. But yeah, the way I see it, oil consolidated at that zone. It broke to the upside with a very impressive candle. Now it's coming back for the retest. So this is the make or break now for oil. If oil really does mean business to the upside and we are going to continue higher, I do want to see price reject this level at 66. I do want to see price really put a strong rejection in there. And then we can talk about more longs and probably swing back to highs. What are your targets for both the oil and the GJ position? Is it intraday trades you're looking at or more swing ideas? I think oil from a swing perspective makes a lot of sense. You're coming back from a big daily level. You know, we could see a move back into 75, even 80. I think it makes a lot of sense there. I wouldn't necessarily be looking to try and swing GJ to the upside because of two main reasons. The biggest one, we've been very corrective on the way up here. It's not like we've seen a very clean or very healthy trend. Momentum's clearly dying down and we're slowing down. So that's one reason why I wouldn't look for a big swing. And the second reason is because we've got a pretty big level just above us there, which could be a bit of a nuisance. So buys at the moment for GJ look good, but we are towards the end of a strong up move here on the daily chart. We are looking very corrective. We've got big levels above us, so I wouldn't be looking for any big moves there because we do have very solid resistance, which of course we could break through, but I'd rather price breaks the level and then I bet on some pullbacks rather than buying into it. And of course we are quite corrective, which again, the more corrective we are, the more likely we are going to roll over. But yeah, intraday I think buys look good. Oil I think we're positioned very well for a big swing, and then we could see price hopefully continue after that. And if you're looking to enter positions on oil, I'll keep a close eye at 66.14. I think could be some nice intraday trades, even if it's just a swing back to the high here or some levels there. I think that makes sense as well, because essentially you've got that strong sell-off, consolidation, price broke to the upside, you know, pull back to retest the range. Now you got your continuation as well. OGPAC. You're saying you want to get account with ET? Go to the Elevating Traders website, just elevatingtraders.com, and you have all the information about different accounts you can get. Of course, check through the rules, make sure that you're aware of it, and all the information you will need for each challenge is there. You can read through the FAQ. I'll have a more detailed breakdown, but yeah, go check out the website and you can find out more information. And if you're looking to purchase, you can of course do it on the website over there. And of course you can use the discount code for 25% off it as well. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with oil. I do think more upside is likely with this one. As long as we stay above 66, then I think the buys look really, really good. Break back below that range, that's a big red flag, I would say. I don't want to see price break back inside the range. Yeah. If that happens, I will be less confident that we are going to push higher. EURUSD, okay, we'll take a look. By the way, guys, if you are enjoying the content, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel. It does really help out. I do really appreciate that. It helps the content grow, helps the channel grow. So if you are enjoying the streams, finding it useful, please be sure to smash the like button. I do really appreciate that. Of course, check out the Telegram group for Zenthrex AI if you haven't checked it out yet. Again, an AI project we've been working on for developing AI tools to help traders. If you are interested in learning about AI and how it could help improve your trading, go check out the Telegram. It has more information there. And also you can find a form, because we're looking to launch Zenthrex next week. And if we are looking for a few traders to go and test the platform and give us some feedback, see what there is to offer. So join the Telegram and you can find more details there on how to access it as well. So if you haven't done that, go check it out. I will drop the link to the Telegram in the chat again. But yeah, EURUSD we can discuss. So EURUSD, this one has been relatively bullish, but I am looking at a big move down. Yeah, the way I see it, yes, we've been in a nice uptrend, but we are taking out some highs here, which I think price is going to be looking to slow down and potentially come back down against. Now, the bigger move might still be to the upside, but I'm not quite sold on this continuing all the way back to highs just yet. So I am kind of waiting for a sell opportunity here for EURUSD. What I will say is that the sell opportunity is definitely not here yet. I'm still seeing relatively strong up moves, which does tell me that the buyers are still here present in the market. I can see we are becoming quite corrective now, which is the first sign that says, okay, maybe this up move is slowing down, but I need to see a lot more development. I talked about some buys over here, which I played at okay. I haven't necessarily ripped to the upside, but we've seen a successful retest and a continuation higher. I wouldn't be looking to buy the market now because we've already seen this move and now we're becoming quite tired as well with this corrective behavior. And I wouldn't look to sell it yet. The trend is still up, momentum's still up. I'm not really seeing big signs of reversal just yet. Yes, we do have some resistance here. We might see a rejection off that, but I would expect us to actually see a new high above that. And price will likely break through. So I wouldn't really be looking to sell just yet. I'm kind of waiting just for more candlesticks to print, more information before I can really put a bias forward and look for the opportunities. I think there's a big swing to the downside in store, but I need to see a bit more price action before I really put that bias forward. So year-ends there, I don't really have much to say with it. I am looking to sell it. It's not quite ready yet. Yes, the market is still bullish on the low time frames, but even so, I wouldn't buy it anyway. It's still very corrective. We're about to push into resistance. So I don't really see any opportunity whether to sell or to buy. Again, not every market I'm going to look at and find a nice opportunity. Some markets I'll look at and be like, okay, stay away. I have no idea what the market's doing, or it's not quite ready to do what I wanted to do. So I'm just going to stay away, give it a couple of days, come back, see what type of price action we're seeing. That's exactly what I would do for UNSD right now. Yes, Menshi, CAD Yen, I can take a look at for you, no problem. Follow the trend. What's up? Hope you're well. Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking for 200. I'm not so convinced about a big up move for GJ. I think yes, we can get to 200 level, but I'm still very skeptical about the yen. I think the yen can still gain a lot of strength quite quickly, maybe even next week as well. I'll go through that and share my opinion on that and take a look at the yen basket and show you why I do have that bias as well. So the yen, yes, I think at the moment it's still weak. It still probably will help pound yen push higher. I think we can still get to 200, but anything more than that, I'm not confident on. For GJ, I still think a lot of yen strength is set to come. But yeah, I'll go through GJ. We'll take a look at CAD Yen as well. I can go through a more of the yen pairs. Haven't taken a look at quite a few of them, so we can go through a lot more of them. Malik entered oil. Okay, nice. Okay, that's your target. Okay. And GJ target. Okay, targeting 200. Okay. So yeah, I'll go through CAD Yen first, and I'll take a look at GJ. We'll go through those targets as well, Malik. But yeah, CAD Yen is actually one of the pairs I'm looking to see if I can find some shorts for CAD Yen for the yen pairs, because number one, yen, I'm not convinced. I'll go through that in a moment. But CAD Yen, I'm looking at this market as a very slow grind to the upside, and it's giving me all the characteristics of a pullback of this move here. When I zoom out and I look at the bigger picture of the market, this is the daily chart. When I zoom out and look at the bigger picture, the way I see the market, we've had that massive sell, had a correction of that, and we've just been bearish since then. So unless I'm seeing very strong signs of reversal in this up move, that we are likely to push back to highs here and back to highs there, I'm not seeing signs of major reversal. I'm seeing very corrective behavior, and this has all the characteristics of a pullback that likely could take us back to lows. So I'm not convinced about CAD Yen continuing. Again, CAD is relatively weak as well, so it's not just yen being strong. CAD Yen, CAD is quite weak at the moment as well. But like I said, in terms of the behavior of how price is moving, I do fancy this bearish leg, and it's actually an opportunity which I will look to see if I can get involved. Entry is not looking that great at the moment. I'm kind of looking at the A tower to see if I can get involved, maybe if momentum picks up. Basically, I'm looking at resistance here, holding, and if it does successfully hold, I think we can sell off. So I'm just going to wait for a bit more momentum before I do click the trigger. But CAD Yen is something I'm interested in shorting. Even if price does sweep the highs here, if it's not convincing and we come back down, I'll still be pretty bearish. Like I said, if this is going to be a reversal of this move, I need to see more momentum. I need to see a more convincing trend. Not seeing any signs of that. All I'm getting is a lot of wicks in this area and a very corrective characteristic of how price is moving, which most of the time means more downside. So yeah, CAD Yen, I have a bearish bias. I'm looking for shorts. If momentum can pick up, I probably will find an entry to get involved. I might not get the best risk reward with this one. Ideally kind of want to be up at the highs here, but I might get a bit more of a later entry. But I'll probably still be able to get 1 to 2 back into the lows here, so I wouldn't mind it. As for GJ though is still bullish. I still think GJ can see more upside. Again, still very nice higher highs and higher lows. A nice pullback there, test the trend line. A very nice reaction yesterday. If I zoom out, look at this on the daily chart. This too is quite corrective as well. This hasn't really blown us away with a lovely uptrend. Yes, it is an uptrend, and yes, we have seen higher highs and higher lows, but for the most part, it is quite corrective as well. But I would still expect us to push into 200 or just shy of that anyway. I still think we can push back into resistance, but then afterwards, I'm not too sure. I can see a world where we push into that and we come right back down. If we were to break through this, it's going to take some momentum, it's going to take some force. Yen's going to have to be pretty weak to help fund that move. We'll take a look at the yen basket in a moment. But yeah, pound yen is just quite corrective on the daily chart. So although things are still quite bullish, I dropped to the 15-minute chart. I looked at the market structure. We had a bearish trend here. Price, of course, rejected the trend line over here. Very sharp recovery, taking out highs. Lovely pullback over there. And these are a couple of zones I've marked out for some buys, whether this zone here, which is where all the momentum came from. I think that's a clever place for a buy. And I also like this level here as well, which price at the moment is holding. I drew this counter trend line here. I said if we can get close above that, that could be a nice entry signal to get involved and take some buys. So GJ buys look good. I think we can rally at least back to 198, and then of course beyond that you got 199 and 200. So I can see that happening. It looks good for buys for now, but a long-term move is kind of where I'm not too sure. And again, if I quickly look at the yen basket, the reason why I do have that bias is because this is such an incredibly corrective move on the way down for the yen basket. I think this move here is likely to be a pullback of this drive higher. The way I see it, price is pushed up, is having a bigger correction, and I can see price pushing back into resistance. If I go to the weekly chart, we've got a really big level of resistance above us, and the way I see it, we're kind of forming a bit of a inverse head and shoulder pattern. Left head, right shoulder, that's your neckline. I think in the next few weeks, next few months, we could be trading back into resistance and possibly breaking that to the upside. So that's kind of where the bias comes from. I don't see price continuing to fall here. I could be wrong, of course. I'm not speaking in absolutes, absolutely not. I'm just speaking what I am seeing in terms of my analysis, how price is moving. If this bearish move had a bit more force and was stronger and took out lows more aggressively, you can see we've just taken out these lows here, but already looking very corrective since then as well. So these are the type of things I'll look out for, and really do help me plan the next move or the next move I'm expecting for any given market. And in this case, I kind of do expect us to push higher. We might still bleed low. I'm not saying we're going to push high now. That's a key point I should make. I'm not expecting us to necessarily be bullish right now. We might still see new lows. We might still fizzle out a little bit further. But I do think eventually we'll see a push up, similar to what I'm expecting with the dollar. DXY has been falling for quite a while. It's starting to run out a bit of steam. I think this one too can see some upside at some point. It might not be today, it might not be Monday, but maybe for the next week or two, I think the DXY can see some upside as well. So yeah, that's just something to keep an eye on. Not necessarily something to trade just yet, but I'm not convinced about a long term weak yen. Same with a weak dollar as well. Okay, so hopefully that made sense. No problem, happy to help. Yeah, that's true. That is true. Swiss yen is one of the only yen pairs which I'm kind of backing away. Swiss yen all-time highs. Yeah, that's a good point as well. That's a good point. Because after all-time highs, you would expect to see a pullback. But the thing is, we can always go a little bit higher as well. I mean, Swiss yen's been making all-time highs for the past year, really. If I expand to Swiss yen, look at the monthly chart for this fella. The previous all-time high was actually back over here, back in the 80s, funny enough. And since June 2023, it's actually 2 years ago, price, of course, took out those all-time highs. So we've been continuously making all-time highs since then, really. We made one in July 24, a year ago. And of course, we've actually just gone and pinched them and seen some new highs. But altogether, we are very, very overbought. We're very overextended. And I think a big down move is going to be on the cards. But again, this could take a whole year to pan out. So we're not too concerned about that. I do expect to see a massive sell-off. But yeah, that could take a year. I think when it gets going, when price really does turn around, we'll probably see some very aggressive bearish trends there for the Swiss. But even then, in terms of the price action now, we've just swept these highs. And again, we're looking pretty corrective here as well. So I wouldn't want to be buying Swiss yen right now either. I feel like Swiss yen is likely to see a pullback. It might not be a situation where we get that massive sell-off I just mentioned. It might just be another pullback for us to test some structure before going higher. That could be the situation there for Swiss yen. We might pull back, retest some areas, and then keep going. I do expect us to have a massive reversal, but that will take some time. In terms of the price action right now, I think we are quite overbought. I don't think there'll be many more buys in the market continuously taking price higher. If you think about it, anyone who has some big positions, buying Swiss yen, they're probably locking in some gains at the high there. And that inversely will cause selling pressure to come into the market. And naturally, you should see a pullback pretty soon. And you can see how price is moving. We are looking pretty tight here for Swiss yen as well. So I think there could be a bit of a drop here. Difficult to tell when. It could be now. We might have another swing and then it is now, or maybe another 2 swings and then we push down. So yeah, I think it's a bit difficult to predict where that high will form, but I do agree, all-time highs, we are likely to pull back pretty soon here. I don't see us continuing like that forever. Not a problem. Happy to help, Menchi. So Malik, in terms of those entries, so GJ you're targeting 200. Okay, makes sense. Oil you're targeting 76.671. Okay, it's right. I'm pretty much there, aren't I? That's 62, 67. Pretty much there. So yeah, basically the high then. Basically the high. Yeah, I mean, it's a lovely swing there. I bet the risk reward is quite healthy in that position. You enter the 64.688, which would be around here somewhere. And I imagine stops for you would be here-ish, 64, 63.5. So, yeah, I can imagine the risk reward was looking very, very tasty there. But yeah, I would keep an eye on that because a lot can happen between now and 76.67. A lot can happen between now and then, so I would have some type of management plan and monitoring the market structure. But yeah, risk reward looks pretty good. Even if you can get half that swing, you probably still have a very decent return. And I do agree, if price does hold this support level, I do think we are likely to push back into 76. I actually do expect us to push into 80. So if price is well and truly going to hold this level, it's been respected very well in recent times. I'm just viewing this as a big fake out. If price is really going to hold this level, I do think we can really turn around here. So I do agree with that bias. I do agree with the targets as well. Like I said, I'll just keep an eye with the management side of things, because when you do have big risk rewards, just because you have And when you have big risk rewards, the probability of price getting there, no matter how good the position looks, it's always just going to be a little bit less, because price has to go a long way and things can happen. Markets can shift, sentiment can shift, things can happen, which no longer means price is likely to get to targets anymore. So when you do have those big swing trades, which could take a few weeks to play out potentially, management is very, very key. And it can help you walk away with some decent profit, even if price doesn't go and hit your targets as well. So I would keep an eye on that as it develops. But yeah, I do agree, same bias. I think anyone looking to trade oil, I think some entries around 66.38 look good, because we're coming back to retest that zone. So you would expect to see the market hold this area and rally. So yeah, I do like what I'm seeing with oil. Very strong up move. Hopefully we can see some continuations of that. Good morning, Alex. Welcome to the stream, my man. I hope you are well. Yes, we can take a look at US 30. Haven't looked at that one yet. So the Dow Jones. Okay, so didn't quite make it back to the all-time high, but again, I think it's only a matter of time before we get there, so naturally buys make the most sense to me. It looks like we've had a pullback here, which presents opportunity. I think, where were we? We were over here yesterday, I think we were. Yeah, we were over here. And then NFP gave us this rally, and looks like we've reversed most of it. I like where we're coming into, back into this kind of area of demand here. This is, of course, where the rally came from. So naturally, we'll be expecting buyers to be entering positions here. I mean, it's a very kind of clear-cut uptrend here. Yeah, nothing too overly complicated about what we're seeing. If price can respect this area, then I think this is a fantastic place for a buy. I think maybe keep a lookout for some wicks, a double bottom, because this was a very strong move down. And now we're kind of just moving very, very flat. So I like to see a bit more rejection to the downside. Maybe a strong candle close to insist that, okay, we tried to go lower, we failed, and now we're closing strongly to the upside. That will make a lot of sense. And then, yeah, targets back to the swing high at 44.854 makes the most sense. So, yeah, US 30 very bullish. Of course, we've got the all-time highs just above us. I think leaving positions to run to the all-time high makes sense as well. Maximizing your risk reward off a probable opportunity. We are likely to get the all-time highs. So, leaving positions to run to bank on that, I think makes sense. I still like this area here. I can see a world where we have a deeper correction, maybe take out some lows here, throw some people off, test this area and see a bigger up move. I think that could be a healthy place for a pullback as well. Sometimes the indices give us kind of aggressive pullbacks. We might kind of bleed quite heavily just to have like a slow grind back to the upside again. So I like this zone here at 44K as well. But yeah, at the moment we're testing a nice area of demand. Keep a close eye on that. I think we can push back into resistance and so on and so forth. But overall, very, very bullish on US 30. What's up, CS Integrated? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Okay, good, yeah. Nice. Yeah, keep tabs on that position. Any kind of like massive swing trade, you want to keep an eye on it, because again, when you do get into a trade, you've got all the information of price up until that point when you enter, and you have a target and you have a stop loss. But then as you enter, you get more candlesticks, you get more information, and based on that new information, price might not be as likely to go and hit your targets. Price might not be as likely to hit your targets as it was when you did enter. There might be some signs that says, okay, we're probably going to come back to my entry price again, or we're probably not going to push up anymore. So keeping tabs on that, allows you still to walk away with some profit without kind of just hoping that we do get all the way to your target, which again, the further it is away, the harder is likely to see that happen. Okay, so we'll go through. What's up, good Kingsley? I hope you are well. Hopefully that made sense on US 30. I'm doing good, Kingsley. Thank you for asking. Hope you are well. No, I haven't looked at USDZAR or EUROZAR yet. I will go through that. PLTR. Have I looked at that before? I feel like it rings a bell. Has it reached higher high and expecting a reverse to the downside? Thanks. Have a great weekend. No problem, man. Have a great weekend as well. But yeah, I haven't looked at them yet, so I will go through them for you. No problem. Cease integrated DXY view after NFP holding buy for 96.4. Yeah, I'm looking at a lot more upside for the DXY. Haven't really seen the momentum coming yet. It was looking fairly bullish after NFP, but that momentum didn't really kick in or didn't really sustain. We did have that initial push, but price kind of reversed since then. So my thinking with the dollar is I'm waiting for some buys. I think the bigger move is to the upside. The market's quite oversold or quite stretched. I think the dollar is likely to reverse pretty soon. Not seeing price action necessarily back that up just yet. I'll go and take a look at it and go through in a bit more detail. But I do agree with the buys. I think that's where the bigger move is. I'm not long yet on any USD pairs or any USD opportunities, but I am looking for it. I'll go through USDZAR and EUROZAR. So USDZAR, we've been pretty bearish. I'm still looking at a lot more downside actually for this one. I do think price is still likely to push back into lows here at 17.055 or 17 on the dot pretty much. So I'm looking at a lot more downside here for USDZAR. It's just difficult to trade it because we've been so corrective. You can see how we've been looking, and I do think a big pullback is still in store for USDZAR. Something like this before we do continue. That could end up being a very nice shorting opportunity. Then we get that pullback and then we get the sell. That could be a nice shorting opportunity. I wouldn't want to short it now, but I do have a bearish bias. The break to the downside hasn't been filled with momentum. We've taken out these lows, yes, but it's been a very corrective move here. So I do think USDZAR again is probably likely to push higher. Again, that could lead to us having that bigger pullback I mentioned for the sell. There is a nice area of supply just above us here, which we haven't come back to retest. I would suggest to keep an eye on that. That could be an area which does take us lower. But for the most part, very corrective on the way down. Not giving me a lot of confidence here. Just taking out these lows. We've been falling since the high here. I would say we're quite stretched here. So I do expect lower prices, but I think we're likely to push up first, find some more sellers, and then continue in our bearish path. So maybe there's some aggressive buys to take, try and anticipate the low, but I think the shorts is kind of the safer option, and I still think we're likely to see lower prices as well. So I think there's still a big move to catch. But yeah, USDZAR looking for a pullback and then more downside. EUROZAR, I haven't looked at this one in a while. Okay, so the last time I looked at it, I think was over here. Okay, so I remember now. I was talking about the break and retest opportunity. Yeah, I mean, we did see that. Not quite pushing back into resistance up there. But yeah, the main takeaway for EUROZAR is that we have been pretty bullish. Let me just delete this so we can start fresh. We have been pretty bullish. Of course, Euro has been a lot stronger than USD, so there's a big contradiction between those two markets. USDZAR has been falling, EUROZAR has been falling too, but not as much, and we've been in a slight uptrend recently. But yeah, the way EUROZAR has just been moving, we've been taking out all these highs, and then after we do that, we tend to have a much bigger pullback. So you can see we took out this high. Now we're just going to take out this high here as well. Every time we take out a high, pullback. We took out a high here. It took a while to get that pullback, but eventually we did. Another pullback there, another pullback here, and again, another pullback here as well. So I think we can still see more downside, because it's not only that, okay, we take up the high, we pull back. You can also see the length of time as well. You know, we do kind of spend quite a while with this pullback, you know, before the market does rally. there's 448 days there. After we took up the high here, we had about 518 days before we formed the low. Over here as well, took up the high. That was almost 800 days. And this one was about 560. Took up the high there as well. So I think we can at least get at least 200 days probably before we do put the next low in before continuation. So I don't think the pullback is done yet. Yes, we've had a strong move down, but I think we can still see lower prices. So looking at the 4-hour charts, I think we're looking very tight here. You can see we just swept the highs there. We came straight back down. I think if we could see another push back into resistance, that would naturally be a nice place for a short. And I'm expecting us to return back into support here. I think a retest of this area would still be a very nice place for a short as well. I just don't know if we'll see enough energy to get up there, because this is where we kind of had that last support before we dropped down. I mean, it's not too far away, to be honest. We could still make that move. A test of that area would be nice for a short. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm expecting for Eurozar. A push up. Back into resistance, whether the high here or that zone. But then I'm expecting a push back into the lows at 20.125. Okay, we'll take what was PLTR. Is this part of the NASDAQ, or I have no idea. I mean, okay, let's go to the 4th of July. But yeah, in terms of this one, we're still very bullish. I have looked at it before. Can't remember when. I remember when. I know when. March. But yeah, I can't remember looking at this before. But anyway, we've been very bullish since then. We are looking fairly corrected right now, so probably a pullback's in store. I probably would still keep that bullish bias. I like it if we can drop a little bit lower, close to the lows here, then hopefully pick up along there. Like I said, I do think a bigger retracement's on the cards, but I wouldn't try and call the tops for that. We can always push a little bit higher here. But if we can push back into lows here, I think that's still a sensible place for a buy. You said you're looking for a reverse down. Yeah, I would agree, but I wouldn't necessarily bet on that. We could always see a new high. You could always see a couple new highs before that big reverse down happens. Now that we have seen a higher high, I would expect a bigger pullback. Yes, I do agree. But I think the smart play is still looking for the buys off these lows. And then waiting for the market to give us that bigger pullback. Then we can look at some buys following that again. I think trying to take some shorts here at all-time highs is always a bit tricky, because we could always go a little bit higher. We could always go a little bit higher. And that little bit higher could be enough to take your stop. This is a more probabilistic trade because you can base it off some healthy areas of structure and get a nice stop loss underneath a low. It just makes a bit more sense. So yes, I do agree. A bigger retracement to the downside is likely to happen. But we could always see another wave. And I think that the best bet for a trade is still looking for the buys off the lows. I think that makes the most sense. Okay, we'll go through the DXY next. Raphael, Euro Yen, and Dollar Yen. Okay, we'll take a look. CS integrated. Okay, micro impulse to push it to long. Okay, fair enough. Starting to boil in layman terms. Yeah, I mean, we're getting that. I do agree. We're seeing signs of momentum picking up. I'm also seeing signs of Euro USD doing the opposite as well. So it looks like that could be coming down for retracement. So I do agree. And I'm looking for a lot more strength for USD. It's just, and again, in terms of myself, because of course you do operate on the lower time frames, I'm looking for opportunities on the 4 hours. So the opportunity on the 4 hours is going to take a little bit more time to develop than like the 15 or the 5 minutes. So naturally, I'm always going to be entering a little bit later than you. But I do have the same kind of bias. You've been falling, we've been extremely corrective for quite a while now. This is the corrective move I'm referring to. So I do think we are due that relief, that up move pretty soon. I've marked out a lot of zones here where we could retest and see some downside. Recently, this area here has has rejected price pretty well. We saw a rejection early in the week, nice push down, another one there as well, nice push down. Not quite enough to get us back to lows. We are for the most part putting in some higher lows on the low time frames, as you can see here. We've got another one brewing up here as well. Potentially might see a rally off the back of that too. Of course, we got it's the 4th of July today, so I'm not expecting much movement this New York session, so we might kind of just fizzle out for the rest of the day. But come Monday, this could be an area which we do bounce from and see a push back into resistance. Personally, what I'm looking for before I do get long is just a bit of a prolonged up move. We've had a pretty decent move down. I kind of want to see something similar to that on the way back up. Somewhat of a V-shaped pattern would be very nice. An impulse down, an impulse back up again. That would allow me to look for a correction, a higher low, maybe a retest of this area for a buy, and then I buy off the back of that with the expectation of a pretty big recovery. So that's really what I'm looking for personally for a buy on the 4-hour chart. Yes, I can start to see some higher lows forming, and we are starting to see some aggressive pushes up, especially with NFP. So yeah, I do agree, more upside is likely, but for me, it's not quite ready yet. So I'm just being patient, waiting for my time frame to set up for me before I do take some longs. But I can see we're getting there. High lows are building up. Let's see if that continues. We need to keep pushing higher, keep breaking resistance if that's going to be the situation. But yeah, I am not interested in selling USD anymore. I think we are quite overstretched and we're likely to reverse soon. I think that will be the bigger move anyway. So as a swing trader, I want to position myself in the direction where I think the bigger move will be. Okay, we'll go through Euro Yen and Dollar Yen. Oil, we'll take a look as well, Dan. No problem, Dima. Thank you. Have a great weekend as well. All the best. So yeah, with Euro Yen, this one has been pretty bullish. Of course, Euro's been strong for the most part as well. Yen's been weak for the most part too, and this has been rallying quite a lot, to be honest. I'm debating shorting some other yen pairs, but Euro Yen's definitely one I'm not debating about because, yes, I would expect a retracement at some point, but there's no kind of bearish structure I'm looking to follow. We've got major highs up there at 175. Possibly could see price push towards that area. I have been looking for a buy in the retest of this area or the retest of this area. These are the areas I was speaking about early in the week, and I believe on my last weekly analysis about some areas for some longs and possibly could see a push back to the swing high at 175. So if Euro Yen was to give me a healthy correction, yes, I would be all over some buys here. It makes a lot of sense to me. Price right now looks really corrective, so I'm not eager to try and look for any buys now. I think a bigger pullback's on the cards here. Maybe some short-term buys off the retest of this area. Maybe some short-term buys, something like this, back to highs and call it a day. But the market's awfully overextended. It's quite tired now. So as a swing trader, I want nothing to do with that. But yes, if we can see a bigger pullback into 167, into 165, and I get my necessary confirmations, I'll be all over that, looking for some longs. Maybe price is going to push back to the highs there. If it is, then we've got a lot of upside to deal with. I'm still not sold on the yen. I think the yen can see long-term strength, which is going to be a bit awkward for Euro Yen if it is going to continue higher. But yeah, I'm expecting pullbacks and some longs. In terms of Dollar Yen in the 4-hour, it's been a bit awkward, that one, just because the price actions just been all over the place really, so I don't really have a good read of Dollar Yen. I mean, I am expecting eventually another push back into support here. That's still my expectation, but we've just been so flat, and I'm not really seeing clear-cut opportunities to trade that bias. I might be expecting price to get here, but do I have an opportunity to find an entry to actually take advantage of that? I don't really see it. There is a bit of a level here, which I have been talking about. 146 proven to be resistance on a couple of occasions. Yeah, it doesn't really fill me with a lot of enthusiasm to be looking to short from here. We have had some major fake outs of that zone as well. I wonder if we can do that a third time maybe. Kind of continue with these lower highs. So yeah, I suppose a rejection of that resistance makes sense because essentially we have been ranging, so another rejection of the high makes sense. But it's just not a quality opportunity. I am bearish on dollar yen. I think there is a very good chance we get back to support. The way I see it, price is consolidating before we do get that push lower. And I think we probably will even break 140 as well. So I do think there's a lot more downside to be had. But yeah, very awkward market. It just kind of moves sideways. There might be some lower time frame buys of this area here, but it's all very intraday and in the middle of a range. So I would personally stay away. I don't really want to be finding any opportunities inside that range there because of all that indecisiveness. Just kind of leaves your stop loss in a bit of an exposed place. So I'll be very careful of dollar yen. Very, very careful of this pair. Clarity is not. I don't have a very quality opportunity here right now. Malik, appreciate it. Thank you. If you guys are enjoying the stream, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel. It does really help out. I am grateful for everyone who has liked and subscribed so far. It does really help the channel grow, so I really appreciate that. And of course, whilst you had to hit the bell as well so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. But thank you to everyone who has liked the stream and subscribed. Appreciate that, Malik. Raphael, pound USD shorts. Okay. Yeah, pound USD I like. I probably wouldn't short it on the 4 hour. I think it's something nice on like a 15-minute time frame. Because basically what I'm looking at is that we've kind of broken highs here. So created new highs. Then price broke structure to the downside with that massive sell-off on the pound a couple of days ago. We left behind a healthy area where shorts look good for perhaps the next lower high and a run back to lows. So I think in terms of risk to reward, maybe a 15 or an hourly will look good. I think 4 hour, it's a little bit tight in there in terms of risk to reward and entry. But yeah, the way I see it, we've had a big rally for pound. We consolidated for a couple of days. We broke to the downside momentum, basically looking for the retest of that consolidation and now a continuation lower. Pound USD is in the same situation as Euro, in my opinion. It's been very bullish for a while. We're starting to become a bit more corrective, frequent pullbacks. I feel like we're starting to go through a bit of a pause and the market can be, going for a bit of a pullback pretty soon. The bigger move may still be to the upside, but I think we can see some type of counter trend bearish move, and I'm keeping a very close eye on that over the next few days. But yeah, pound, I do think more downside is in store. I'm looking at a push back into this zone. This is where the momentum came from initially. I think we could be attracted towards that area. And yeah, a very lovely break to the downside. So just a simple break and retest of that range. I do think pound is likely to drop. But of course, if USD is going to be strong, that should help pound USD fall as well. But yeah, as for the 4 hour chart, I'm not really seeing a good entry there. I think this is better better for a lower time frame entry, just in terms of risk to reward, really. 4 hour, 4 hour you can still enter, but just you probably not optimal, I would say. But yeah, I would expect more downside for pound USD, so I do agree with that bias. I think it is quite stretched. Now that we've got that consolidation and breakout, now we've got something to base our trade from, because previously all we had is consolidation. Price could have easily broke to the upside and easily continued. The trend is still bullish after all on the major time frames. But now that we've got the strong drop lower, price is really telling to us that, okay, momentum is not with the buyers anymore, it's now with the sellers. And if you can maintain that consolidation as resistance, that could be a wonderful place to find some entries and expect more pressure to kick in for the bears. And yeah, I think that's a healthy zone to target, or even just a push back into the low here, keeping it simple. That's a smart place to target as well. So yeah, pound pretty bearish for me at the moment. I think going into next week, I will kind of wait for the weekly candle to close, see what the rest of the day has in store, and then I will kind of make up my mind in terms of what pairs I'll be looking to trade for next week and where my kind of focus will be. But at the moment, of course, I did hop into Aussie CHF trades. I'm going to have to manage that and see how that's going. At the moment, that's in a bit of drawdown. But I've got a stop loss in place. The risk is managed. So of course, worst case scenario, take a loss, which of course is all part of trading, but I'm happy with the position. I'm happy with where I'm positioned in the market as well. I like how price is moving. I like the fact that we had a lot of support here. Price took that out and has recovered it. Now I'm just hoping to see if momentum can kick back in my favor. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. It's a bit more of an aggressive position. Well aware of that. We're going against the trend. We're going against the high time frame trend as well. So it's very aggressive. I'm trying to anticipate a higher low forming. But I've been pretty bullish on Aussie CHF ever since we made the new all-time lows. I've been looking for a big recovery. I still think there's a very strong likelihood price is going to come back into this range here, because this is where we had a massive spillover to the downside and no retest of that zone. I think there's a very high chance we eventually get back there, whether it's now or we continue a bit further, then make the move. So I'm kind of looking for us to eventually get over there, but we'll see. And I'm currently in some shorts on pound Aussie as well. This one is in some profit. I've moved stop loss to break even, so there's no risk on the table. I'm still looking for a push back into the lows here. Price has since pulled back and it's retesting this range, so I'm liking that. As long as we can maintain that range as resistance, I do think price can continue to fall and hopefully push back into 2.06 there. I do think there's a lot more downside to be had with pound Aussie, which is why I really like the position, because again, similar to the Aussie CHF trade, this was a bit more of a counter trend trade, a bit more of an aggressive position. Shorting off the highs there. You can see the overall uptrend is to the upside, but price was failing at the highs here just after taking out the COVID highs. Made a very exaggerated move. I'm looking for us to kind of spill over and possibly come back into this zone here. I'll take most of my profits at the low, but I'll see if I can trail stops and let the rest continue. But this one is in profit. I've locked in gains there, so there's no risk on the table. So it's going to manage the Aussie CHF, manage this one. Hopefully take profits there, and of course we'll see what happens if the Aussie CHF does as well. And then hopefully we could see some opportunities in other Aussie pairs, but I don't want to overdo it. I don't understand. Why would I buy you the account and send you the details? Again, very straight. There's different payment options on the website. You can pay via crypto, card payment, PayPal, very kind of trusted and heavily used payment methods. But I'm not going to buy the account and then send you the details. True to an extent, Anton, that's true. Someone has to lose for someone to win. That is true. Okay, guys, we are coming to the end of the stream. I will be live again tomorrow. Tomorrow? No, I won't be live again tomorrow. I'll post my analysis tomorrow, though, actually. My weekly analysis, I will post tomorrow, recapping this week and forecasting the next. I will be live again next week, is what I meant to say, Monday to Friday as usual. So do stay tuned for that, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. UK time as always. If you have enjoyed the stream, guys, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel. It does really help out. If you haven't joined the Zentrix Telegram, go check it out. I've linked it in the chat. I can drop it again. We are looking to launch next week, so do get ready for that. Get your Solana wallets ready. If you're looking to test the platform, see how it is, see what there is to offer, check out the Telegram. There's more information regarding that in testing the platform, but do get your Solana wallets ready. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for tuning into another stream. Like I said, I will post my analysis on the weekend, recapping this week, forecasting the next, going over pairs which I'm going to be looking to trade. But yeah, guys, I will be live again next week, same time as always. Have a great weekend. Thank you so much for tuning in. Drop a like before you leave, subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you all in the next one.
Zentrix AI. The advanced AI-powered trading platform for every trader. Everything you need for trading success. Research, strategy, automation, trade signals, all in one platform. Write strategies in plain language. We build the bots. Forex, crypto, stocks, futures. Every market. Let AI do the heavy lifting. Zentrix AI. The future of trading is here. Are you ready?